So sometimes life just taps you on the shoulder and says, hey buddy, you need to go out and get a boba tea. And when that happens, you should always listen because life is very seldom wrong. Guys, I gotta tell you, this week has been one of the coolest, most fun weeks I've had in a long time. So last Saturday was Record Store Day, and if you're not familiar with Record Store Day, it's a magical time of year where vinyl enthusiasts like myself will get up at the crack of dawn and stand in a big long line to get into a record store. Because that's the time of year when record companies start printing out a bunch of special releases, limited editions, vinyls that haven't been in print for a long time, and they'll release it on that day. And so we'll get up and we'll go to different record stores trying to get these special editions. And this year was my first actual official Record Store Day. I picked up vinyls that were printed for Record Store Day, but I've never actually taken part in the actual day where I got up and went into the record stores and tried to find these rare vinyls. But I was able to pick up a lot of vinyls that I wanted to get my hands on, and some really rare and really amazing vinyls, and I was really glad to get my hands on. And then on Sunday, I drove to Columbus to go to the Oddities and Curiosities Expo. And I went there last year, and I was really excited to go again this year. And it was fun looking at all the exhibits and walking around and seeing everything that was being offered. And I didn't buy a lot of stuff this year, but I got a couple of really interesting pieces I was glad to get my hands on. And then on Wednesday, I drove to Huntington to see some live music at a club called The Loud. I saw Static Fur, Christine Young, and Vision Video. Now, if you've ever spent any time on the internet, and I suspect you may have, especially if you've ever been on TikTok, you might be familiar with Dusty Gannon, who's the lead singer of Vision Video, better known as Goth Dad. And I was hoping to get a chance to meet him briefly while I was at the club, but of course, we've all heard that admonition, you should never meet your heroes. And I have to admit that no matter how cool you might think it would be to meet the actual Goth Dad, it's a lot cooler than that. Dusty was really approachable, he was down to earth, very friendly, loved talking to everybody, spent a lot of time with everybody who was at the club, and he was even sitting out watching the other acts as they played. I just found him to be like a really nice guy. So sometimes the best thing you can do is meet your heroes. But I do have to say that all the stuff I've been doing this week has got me to thinking, and I've been thinking about the value of something that I've started referring to as analog experiences. And by analog, I mean not digital. But when I'm talking about analog experiences, I'm talking about getting off the internet for a while and going out and doing stuff in the real world. And oh yeah, I know exactly what this sounds like right now, and I get it. There is nothing more boomer sounding than, well, you kids need to get off your computers and phones and get outside. Look, I'm a Gen Xer, and Gen Xers are not at all afraid of technology. We grew up with it, we saw it bloom and develop, we helped to develop it, and we were young enough to be willing to adapt it and enjoy it and appreciate it, but we were also old enough to remember when the world didn't have it. And so I would argue that Gen X is able to appreciate technology maybe more than anyone else. And I also have to say that during COVID, the pandemic and the lockdowns, thank God for technology, because without it, this whole situation would have been infinitely worse. But I think we all have to agree that even though technology allowed us to stay in contact with each other, it didn't replace in real life personal experiences. And although I know I'm going to sound like a boomer when I say this, yeah, kids, you do need to get out more. If this week has shown me anything, it has been that, oh my God, it is fun to get out and hang out and do stuff. Yeah, it's great to have a Discord server where you can talk to people who are into the same stuff that you are. But it's also cool to go somewhere and be in a room full of actual live people who are into the same stuff that you're in. As crazy as my family and my friends might think that I am, because I enjoy vinyl and would get up before dawn to buy records, or that I would want to walk around a big room that looks like the Addams Family is having a garage sale, or even go watch a goth band on a Wednesday night. I was in rooms full of people and got to talk to people who thought that was the best idea ever. And no matter how introverted somebody might be, we're all still social creatures. And that social contact is really important. And it's not something that we can do without. And so I have really learned this week how important these analog experiences are, and how much I've enjoyed them, and how much they have meant to me, and how much they've enriched my life in just the course of a week. And so, yeah, you should go out and see a movie instead of sitting at home and watching it on your couch, or go listen to a live band at a local bar, or even just go out and hang out with friends. In fact, this afternoon I'm getting ready to go to a baby shower that's being held by a couple of friends of mine. And is it high adventure? Certainly not. Is it important? It certainly is. Social interactions are important. Doing things IRL is important. All of that stuff is important. And it doesn't all have to live in your computer. And as much fun as it is to be online, and I certainly enjoy being online, sometimes it's great just to unplug and do something for real.